Okay, so thank you for coming. I'm very happy to be here virtually. I was looking forward for this event, and today I want to share with you one of the experiences and scars that come while you implement chatbots and how using other tools that can make your life easier and incorporate developer workflows in applications like machine learning or machine learning chatbots in this case. So what is the inspiration and why I started this project? So if any of you have been working in machine learning, let's say if you crashed in this field, you will see that in the beginning we behave pretty much like a one-person band. And what do I mean by this? That we all start playing with Jupyter Notebook, and it works pretty well when you are only in Jupyter Notebook. But once you realize that your model is not supposed to live in Jupyter Notebook, but you want to expose it and share it with other people, then you realize that you need to learn about how to configure a database, how to configure Nginx, different decisions how to design the API to serve the model. And all of these decisions are the ones that are driving today the field to be called like full stack data scientist or machine learning engineer. So if, like me, you started alone, you will find out that you were a one-person band. And the intent of this presentation is to show you how you can make your life easier by using another tools while learning all these instruments. So why do I say instruments? Because all of these technologies, they are instrumental for you to be able to serve a machine learning model, in this case, a natural language understanding model that you want to share with other people. And it seems when we think about chatbots, it seems like, yeah, it's just a little microservices, a very easy piece of software that you can develop, but it has lots of things that you need to consider if you want to serve it to other people to use it. So things that I went through and you probably are going through or you will go through is that there are different architectural decisions and technologies. So one thing, as I was mentioning, is you do all data exploration and training of the model and testing of the model in Jupyter Notebook, possibly. But once you realize that you want to keep track of your experiments, then you will start hearing words like Git and version control. If you want to expose your model as an API, so probably you will go for Flask or Fast API. That is like pretty popular these days. And if you want to have data that you have to read somewhere, for example, I don't know, recommendations engines or stuff like this, you will start to think, okay, so I need persistence, I need database. What is the type of database that I should use? Should I use Cassandra? Should I use MySQL? All of these things start to come into play, and to make it even more interesting, then you will see that, okay, we have to serve the things using Docker. And where do I put my containers? So should I create a virtual machine? Should I go for a platform as a service? Should I use some SaaS service? And also the Nginx that I was mentioning that makes it possible for you to serve your model with the outside world. So how and what are the lessons learned from my experience and the teams I have worked when we were creating chatbots that use machine learning techniques to be smarter and not rule-based? So what do we learn? So this starts borderline the theory that you will start reading more and more about machine learning operations. So first, and this is like for documentation purposes of the project, model life cycle. You should create in the documentation the life cycle view of your model. So this is very important to understand. How do you do data ingestion? How do you version the data? What type of labeling you need to do? In the case of chatbots, you need to create the intents, the entities, the synonyms. And how do you know that the data that you are creating is valid for the let's say, the JSON that your chatbot needs to read in order to learn, and the pre-processing, training the model, and then closing the loop. So lesson learned, first of the lessons that we learn is, let's think in terms of, like today is called machine learning operations, but let's just bring the model lifecycle view. And this only pertains to the data scientist or the machine learning engineer or the person that is into machine learning. But then, very important, to make these projects come to life, we need to also think in the process, because it's not enough if you know how to create a chatbot, or at least how to code a neural network that can learn an intent and can learn an entity. you will find out that the people that are a cornerstone are very important for you to create a good chatbot are what is called usually dialogue contributors, and they are not necessarily technical people. In the case, in recent case, some months ago, we created a chatbot for a frequent asked questions in Colombia in regards to the coronavirus pandemic. And we found out that the people, the developers, they don't really know, or they don't need to know all the data or the frequent asked questions that they were asking in different areas or regions from the country. So there were another profile of people that they were not technical, but they were very important because they were the ones creating and adding to the knowledge base of the bot the actual questions that people were having. And you don't need these people to understand what is NLP, what is NLU, what is a chatbot. You just need content creators, or in this case, dialogue contributors. So when you define your process and you start finding out what are the different roles of type of people that they will be part of your success to deploy software, this is where this process view is very important, because also in terms of project, if you leave the project or there is a new person coming to the chatbot development, it will be very easy to understand who is who and how are we creating the thing. And then what are the benefits? Because this is usually documentation, as many of you know, is boring, and usually we document later, not before. But this is very important because this gives us a common understanding for everyone who comes and read. If I show you this, you know how we are creating a chatbot. You know that there are usually 2 profiles of people and that we are using DevOps for this. And that this process here is a typical developer workflow to create an artifact. So when we also use this, what we do is that we are setting from the POC level, let's say, or the most basic iteration of the bot, we are just creating something with a very strong baseline that will allow us to iterate and improve with the pass of time the performance of the chatbot. And how does this look in terms of components view? So in this case, I am using GitLab CI and GitLab C continuous delivery, and an open source framework that is called Rasa, that is for conversational agents. These use transformers architecture to be able to understand intents and entities and create the conversations that probably you are familiar with about. So we will go deeper in this architecture, and I will show you how it works, and then I will show a demo. So how this thing works, and why GitLab? First, I work at GitLab as a technical marketing engineer, and I have been using this, and let me tell you that this really makes your life easier. This is something that I just want to share with you, because I believe that if you use it, you can focus more in the development of the bot, and make it a greater bot, and you don't have to worry that much about all the manual steps. So what you in this workflow, how it starts, let's imagine that I have the dialogue contributor that I was mentioning, or just some developer that they want to add 2 more sentences to the knowledge base of the bot. And when you have all of these things configured, when you make this one effort to configure these things, you just need to do git commit, git push, and then you send it to GitLab. And once it's in GitLab, the technology of CI and CD is going to take care of all the steps that usually you have to do manually. So you need to know if you want to start training the bot, you need a test, and you need to test if the data is conforming to some template or format. So you don't have to do this manually. You don't have to open a command terminal. This will just happen automatically when you use continuous integration and you use the service runners or these machines that are running each one of the steps that you need. But very interesting here is that traditionally in software engineering, you do unit testing or other type of test. In this one, I am using the runners to do testing, but in the context of machine learning. So I am bringing data to the runner, like the dialogues, and I am training a neural network using the runners, and I am serving the model or the neural network of the bot to the model server, everything automatically. So the intent of this is I just wanted to automate as much as possible to make my life easier. And along the way, and very important, you will see that when we execute this pipeline, this creates the model that ultimately it's like the brain of the bot. is the brain of the chatbot that will be the one that is able to understand natural language and will serve the conversations. And if you are working in a company that you need to explain why your bot answered what it answered, so you need to create a paper trail or something that will provide you with some record that if you need to if you ever get outdated, you can show, look, this is my model, these are the artifacts, and this is all the version control that made possible this model to be created. So in this first step, all of this happens automatically. We create a model that later, in the second part, what I do also automatically is that I use the API REST of the Rasa conversational library, and I serve the model to this model server, and I make it active. And in this stage, I am already ready to start serving the conversations, and I close the loop by bringing, with Jupyter Notebook again, the conversations or the real-life conversations that my bot is having with the users, and use this as a playground where I can start exploring the data and learning what the people are saying to the bot, what are they texting, and with this, create a new knowledge base and continue iterating. And as I said before, this will, with the pass of time, enhance and the performance of your bot. So what I want to say is that when you adopt this CI/CD, you are bringing like a conductor to your orchestra that, using the developer workflows and all this philosophy of CI/CD into machine learning projects, in this case a chatbot, this will ultimately make your life easier. I believe this, and I am enjoying using these pipelines to deliver faster and easier chatbots in my clients or in DevOps with DevOps philosophy. So everything works in Keynote or PowerPoint. Let me show you how this can look. So basically here I have a pre-recorded demo that what I'm doing here is that this can be the developer environment, this is PyCharm, where typical developer task, I'm just creating a new branch, and in this new branch, I want to add to the knowledge base of the bot. So in this case, I'm adding more knowledge on how to understand an intent that is supposed to be to affirm or to deny. And this is a small change. If, for example, you don't use automation and you just need to do this small change, this is time consuming. Sometimes in real life, you only have to do that. You only have to add one sentence or one word, and then you have to retrain the model for this. And if you have only for one word or one sentence to go through all the steps that I was mentioning, this is very time consuming and inefficient. So what I'm doing here is that, okay, I'm the developer in this case, and I just needed to add 2 sentences, 2 words. And then as I say, git commit, I'm just explaining, you remember to add a nice commit message, and then git push. And what is happening here when I do git push is that this will bring the conductor of my orchestra. This is what will help me to not be the one-person band. And here, when I do git push to my remote repository, I'm creating a merge request in GitLab. And this stage is where all the traceability and reproducibility of the experiment or of the bot starts, because I will have record of every single thing that happened in the bot, who did it, when it was done it, and what was the outcome or the accuracy of the model. And I will have, in other words, version control around a machine learning project. So when I click in submit merge request, this is the famous pipeline, these cycles here. All of these steps or jobs that are being executed here, if you don't use this, you have to do them manually and prone to error. So you can define for your own purposes what is the pipeline that you need. In this case, I just want to first test that the data that we added to the bot in that MD format is correct. I want to see what was the things that were added, because this could be another person adding this. So I want to have I want to see the diff of the training data. This is actually training data. And once I go back to the pipelines, I can see in the jobs, in this case, that the first one, that was the testing, the first thing that I needed to know is the data in the correct data format? Because if it isn't, so it is not supposed to train a model. So all of these things, the data was correct, the requirements to build the bot was correct. And here, when I click and I enter in each one of the runners that are executing these jobs, I can see that it's taking my training data and doing the test in one of these machines and moving forward in the pipeline. So this is actually sometimes interesting to observe if you want to burn some time. And here, this is the visual representation of the pipeline. As I said, you will define for your own purposes. In this case, what I'm doing is that my first step is to test the integrity of the data. And now that I know that the data is correct, I'm training the model. And in this training the model, if I click in the runner, in this case, that is doing that, I can see that the machine in this case is now training the transformers or the neural network that will be able to understand the natural language dialogues. And at this stage, I have traceability of every single thing that is going on in the bot. And along the way, I am creating artifacts. So in this case, we can see that when this job finished, I have a model artifact. This is the action model. This is the brain of the bot. This is what I will serve in production or pre-production. And I have it here with a timestamp and who created it and in which pipeline and which commit. And here, this lastly, almost the last step, is the testing of the model. And this is not the traditional testing of software engineering terms. What I'm doing here is that I have a set of dialogues that I want to test how the model will respond to unknown sentences, or how good it is at understanding, instead of hello, hi, or WhatsApp, if it's able to say, okay, this is a grid, intent grid. So when I finish this and all of these things that are automated, one of the coolest things is that I create paper trail with different assets that can help me later to, if I want to change something from the model. In this case, the output of the model is giving me this JSON that is telling me what was the confidence that one word was belonged to the category of denial or affirm or grid. So one of the cool things is that when I use this, and for other team members or just for me later, I can create automatically, like in this case, serving all of these JSON files or these assets, like this image that is showing me the distribution of the intents that I detected in a nice report, nicely formatted like this. So if tomorrow you want to change something, you can see, okay, let me compare what is the precision of this model compared to my previous one, because I have reporting. And you can configure this, and you can customize your reports. And at the end of the day, this is just, you cannot improve something that you are not measuring. So if you are measuring the precision in every step of your experiment, and you are using reports for this, you will make more and better informed decisions for the next iteration. So, and again, all of this is happening automatically. This is like, you just have to work once to make all of this possible, and then only with git commit and git push, you get all of these benefits in two single commands. So here we can see that my pipeline passed. So I'm ready to merge, and this ready to merge can mean that I'm ready to push it to production or to pre-production. And here again, the pipeline this is the pipeline that is merging my results to production. And I want to show you that I have the model server in the components view. At that stage, when I was running this, the model that was active was one from Sunday, July 19th. And when I was running this experiment, aided data, once I finished and once the deployment is successful, as you will see here, at this point, all of the steps that I need for production were successful, and I am in the last one that is deploying to production or deploying to my server. So as you will see here, once it's done and the deployment is successful, this on the table, this is calling the API of the model server, and it's saying, I have a better model for you that, as you can see here, is a more recent one, or back then was a more recent one, and it's telling, I have a new model for you that I want you to use, and please make active. And again, this was the result. This is the result of just doing git commit and git push. All of these things are happening automatically. And then I now using these tools like from RasaX the framework for conversational agents, I can quickly use part of the features that they offer to serve the chatbot with the newly created model to testers or to other people, so they can chat with the bot, and we start closing the loop. So in this case, as you can see, it was very easy to just deploy to production, let's say, the model. And to close the loop, using it, now we go where we are comfortable if you are into Python for data analysis. And what I'm doing here is I just want to consume and read the database of my bot using like Jupyter Notebook. And I want to, this is just a small example of what you can do. And I want to understand the users of this bot that is called Adriano, what are they texting to the bot? So if you just a simple chart, like let's count sentences, this can give me an impression that, for example, if it's saying I'm a bit mad, call your supervisor. So first of all, there are two benefits here. I am learning how the real users, what are the words that they are using. And then I can take this and add it to my knowledge base of the bot. And also I can use all of this information to create, for example, an emotion detector. Understand that this is negative. So if this is negative, what should I do? What custom action can I create? And in this case, there are more countings of if the course is expired, because this is inspired by a fake platform learning that we sell courses. This is the whole intent. So in this case, you can even drive business decisions. You can say the people are asking about these questions about the business if the course is expired, and then you add it and you go back to your chatbot and you enhance the knowledge base. So with this, I want to almost finish showing you that once you create your machine learning pipelines and you are ready to start implementing automations, you have a full-blown orchestra for you, and you only care about the content and the intelligence of the bot, because you do one effort at configuring and using these tools and the DevOps philosophy for machine learning, and then you just enjoy the benefits. That if you work alone, makes your life easier. If you work in a team, this will increase communication and collaboration with other teams. As I said, there are technical people, but there are also other people that they just add dialogues. By using developer workflows and adopting CI/CD, you will have a more reliable solution with version control that can be easily updated. And you can reproduce. That is one of the main challenges of machine learning, that it works in my machine, but it doesn't work the same in the other machine. When you have this, you are ensuring you're moving one step forward to have more reproducible solutions. And very important, and this is the way that I like to see it, is that you can start from manual development, like I used to do 4 years ago or 3. And then when you discover the power of pipelines and how you can outsource, let's say, to a DevOps platform, all of the manual steps, you are just setting yourself for an end-to-end automation where you can start thinking of how can I automate business processes. Imagine that instead of me calling the API of the Rasa server to bring the conversation and then start using Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook, I can create a full end-to-end automation where even this call to the API will be done automatically, and even the exploration, like the counting of words, can be also automated. And I just get, as a business person, let's say, or the manager of this project, a report with the most frequent words that the bot is receiving. So this just set us for, let's say, faster iteration and better chatbots. And if you want to know more, I have created a starter project in GitLab where you can clone the project and you can basically reproduce what I show you in the video. So now we can move. If you have questions, I will be happy to answer. Mm-hmm. Okay, first question. So yes, in this case, Rasa, I created a virtual machine in Google, and I installed it using the Docker Compose one. So for me, I'm using it as my own instance in the cloud, self-hosted. Yeah, it's not SaaS. Another question. It says, what do you log about your model in the paper tray? So you can log whatever you want if your tooling is creating this in the actual logs. In this case, for this example, I just wanted to know the F1 score, the precision and the accuracy of the bot when it's understanding, when it's facing some sentence. But you, if you want, because this is part of the log of the solution, it is also having the weights. So you can also add this. And this is the power I was saying, because then you start to realize what are the things that maybe make sense for you to log. And you can create a report with that. Yes, I will share everything for sure. Okay, and is there more questions? I think no. So folks, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. I hope that I can inspire you to go for automation and DevOps in machine learning, of what they are calling it now, MLOps, or machine learning operations. That is like a very cool name, but it's DevOps with machine learning. How did it? Okay, another question. How did you set up the pipeline? So yes, I can show you. So let me share again my screen, and I will show how I set up the pipeline. So in this project that you can clone, is public and you can use, in GitLab, there is a file that is called the GitLab CI YAML, that in this file, I define the jobs. All of these things that you saw step by step in pre-production or production, they are defined under this format, under this YAML. So this is actually what made it possible, that I said, once I do git push to this remote, this is bringing this image from Rasa, and it's executing all of these stages in GitLab. And every step that is executed is creating an artifact. Like example, this is the report that I was showing in the wiki. You can create more artifacts. It's up to you, depending on each job. And in this one, for example, this is the one that I am deploying to the server. So by using tools like this, I can in one shot, let's say, configure where is the model, my server model, what is the endpoint that I want to call, and all of these things, they just happen automatically. And this is the script, for example, that I show you, that once I am happy with the results of my model, if the accuracy or the F1 score is acceptable, I can make it active the model and start serving it in production. So it's able to start having conversations with users. So I hope this answers your question. This is how you define the pipeline, and this is all in GitLab, and it's just using this simple YAML file. Yes, this is a boilerplate code. This is very basic one. This is like the steps that you just do, git push, and then you have it on production. So I will say that this is my boilerplate code that you can just clone, and from here you can change for up to your needs. Right, awesome. So thank you, team. I'm very happy to be here with you. I hope that next year we can meet in person and exchange beers and books. So I'm leaving now. Thank you very much. Bye, Ali.